Hello, welcome to Real Frank Movie Reviews. In this episode, we're going to review the new movie Creed 3, starring Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, Tessa Thompson, and Wood Harris. Michael B. Jordan making his directorial debut by also directing this movie. I never can figure out how these actors star and direct in movies. It seems so hard. My special guest reviewer and I will be talking about spoilers. So there's your spoiler. We're going to give this thing an overall score and talk about our favorite parts or least favorite parts. But the big question is, what happened to him? What happened? No reference of him at all in this movie. Is he dead? He's got dementia? Is he homeless? Is he living in a halfway house in Philly? What happened to him? He was your trainer. Now he's gone. Not even a word of peep. We'll get into all that next. What's going on with you? You okay? Huh? They forget about you? They forget about you? Oh, you still mad at Erwin Winkler?
Real Frank.
All right, welcome back to the show, Niles. How you doing, Niles?
Back in action, man. What's going on?
So Creed 3, does that one make you want to become a fighter, a boxer?
Oh, it made me want to get buff in here, man. These guys look like Super Saiyans out there.
Dude, they were so jacked up. I felt like a pile of poo watching these guys.
No, for real, man. Made me want to go hit the gym, man. Like these guys, like Jonathan Majors, dude. You know, he's in the Marvel movie. Now he's in, Creed. He really had to get bulked up, didn't he?
Dude,
that was breakfast over there.
I don't know how they do that. I mean, both of them were in pretty good shape, but man, Jonathan is just another level there.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, those workout plans. I need their workout plans. I need their trainers. They're getting paid pretty good, I'll bet. I can imagine.
I imagine they got special people dedicated to him full time to help him achieve that physique for these type of films.
For sure. I know Marvel, like, they have a whole department making their actors look like exactly like superheroes, having the right physique and everything. I know they do the same thing with those Creed movies, the boxing movies. They got to make sure they're in top physical shape.
Yeah. So can you give our viewers a synopsis or a summary of what this movie was about?
No problem, man. No problem. So, we're at Creed 3. He's done it, man. He's become the greatest boxer, basically, in all of boxing, in that world. And all of a sudden, Adonis Creed, his childhood friend, finally gets freed from jail. He had forgot all about him. And during that whole, prison stint, his friend, he was animosity, building up that whole stint in jail. And then as soon as he gets out, he's ready. He's ready for action, get back in that ring. And, it all goes downhill from there,
Yeah. And he's got some resentment, and because he feels like he was forgotten, and he feels like if he would have never went to jail, he could have been a world champion.
Absolutely. A lot of animosity there, a lot of jealousy.
So, I mean, when I saw this advertised, you saw it advertised, we were pretty pumped about this one. We were pretty excited because it looked pretty sweet. So, did it live up to your expectations?
I would say so. I was impressed, at the end of the movie, and I'm always kind of skeptical going into sports movies or boxing movies or whatever, because it's not really just a boxing match. There's a storyline that comes with it, and I think they did a good job of telling a good story for this movie.
I have to agree. The story was fantastic. The story for this particular one is probably my favorite story out of these so far. I mean, I just love the backstory of how this all came down and happened, and I thought it was really, really thought out. I have one question regarding the beginning, though, when Adonis sneaks out of the house to go watch Damien fight. The mother, is that his mother, or is that another woman in the beginning?
That it's basically his mother. It's just not his blood mother. That was basically the woman that took him in. She was like one of three, like the OG Creed's mistresses, but she was close to him. I think it was more of a girlfriend type of deal situation with them. And when she heard about that Creed had a son or whatever, the original, the OG Adonis Creed is dead, she went, took him in, did right by Creed.
So in that scene, is that Apollo's wife then? In that scene?
I'd probably have to go back and watch the first movie again because they explained it a little bit more in depth. But I'm pretty sure I don't know if they were married. I know they were together. They were a little bit more close. That's why she felt obligated to bring him in.
Okay.
Take him under her roof.
All right. So with that being said, what was your favorite part in this movie? Like, what was your jaw dropping parts of this thing?
Let me think. I think my favorite part's probably the last fight, man. When Creed and man, I can't even remember Jonathan Major's character name. Do you remember?
Damien.
What was it?
Damien.
Yep. Yeah, that was probably the best part. That was a good fight between those two.
It's funny you say that because that was probably my least favorite part of this movie was that fight.
Really? How come?
First of all, I thought for Michael B. Jordan doing his first time directing a movie, I thought he did a fantastic job. It looked really stunning, especially those body shots. When they showed the body shots and you saw the skin and the ribs move, fantastic. But for the reason of the final fight, I didn't like two things that I didn't care for was they had the music playing throughout that big fight, right? I would have preferred no music during that intense scene than just them boxing it out right there with no music and the commentators talking about the fight until the big pivotal turning point. Then you kick in the music. Second, I didn't care for the part where they I know what he was trying to do, where the fans all disappear and it's like they're fighting in the ring by themselves. I know exactly what he's trying to do. I get it. But then when they started putting the cell block in the background around the ring.
That part was pretty lame. I thought that was pretty lame.
I mean, you got these two Goliaths going at it, a lot of emotion. I felt that whole part was so unnecessary. If the whole them in the ring and they're not listening to the crowd, and I get that part, but when they threw up the cell block, then it looked a little cartoony-ish to me.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I thought the same part. I thought the jail part was pretty corny, but unlike you, I thought the part where the crowd disappeared, I thought that was cool because it just showed how focused they were.
Right.
It just showed how locked in.
Yep.
Locked in they were. Into the fight. It was just real cool, man. But a lot of that last fight, like a lot of this movie, was anime reference. I'm not sure how much you are into anime, but like how you said the fight scene, the slow motion punches where he gets into his gut. You see the beads of sweat just bounce off of his body. You see his facial expression going in slow motion. That's all anime, man. That is all anime inspired, and I appreciated that movie so much because I know Michael B. Jordan, he's a big anime fan, so I know he put a lot of that into his movie.
I didn't know that. I was not aware that's where that stuff came from, but it was done very, very well. It's probably the first film that I really noticed something unique as far as in these fighting films where there was such an emphasis on like you said, the sweat bouncing off, the movement of the body from the punches, like especially the body shots. We've seen it in the face, but never so much. So much detail in the impact. Like they put a lot of thought in how, and I'm sure, I don't know, do you think that was CGI or that was really some hit there, that slow motion camera or something?
I don't know, because you see, that's the part that I like about this movie, because it's so hard to make anime movies, like live action versions of anime movies, because they're so out of this world. They're so supernatural. It's really hard to bring that. But you say the CGI part, I'm curious myself. I don't know. That does make sense if it was the case, but they did a great job just making it look so good.
Yeah, if it was, or maybe they had super slow motion camera or something, and it's really slowed it down frame by frame.
It was so clear. It was crazy, man. That was just great, man. It's fantastic.
It was. My other thing I didn't care for was when Damien fights Felix, how different in size. It didn't even look like they were in the same weight class. Like, Damien looks like he's a heavyweight. And Felix looks like maybe he's a middleweight, barely above a featherweight. Just the size discrepancy between the two of them having to fight each other was, I thought, a little comical. Like, they should have had that Felix guy be a bigger guy or something, because it just looked, there's no way in real life those two men would have been in the same weight class.
No, I agree, man. I definitely peeped that difference. You know, I've seen, you know, certain boxing matches and UFC matches where like there's a sizable difference, you know, but they're still ended up in the same weight class. So I guess that kind of, you know, was the explanation, my own self explanation for that. But I thought the exact same thing. Like, you've seen Creed 2, right?
Yeah.
Remember how big the villain with Drago's son
Yes.
was, and that compared to Creed?
Right.
I mean, that was just humongous difference.
Now, what did you think about Drago being in this and being his sparring partner now?
That part was kind of weird to me too. Like, every one of your opponents doesn't have to be your friend.
Exactly
that,
right.
That was a little frustrating.
That was a little weird, wasn't it? Like, you were my enemy, and now we will drink beer and spar.
Right, man. No, that was a little lame to me, but I mean, hey, you know, it ended up working, I guess. So it was cool.
Dude, Jonathan Majors is gonna be a freaking star. That guy is one hell of an actor, man. You were talking him up, you know, before we did Ant-Man, and you were all pumped up about Jonathan Majors. You were telling me before he even was on my radar, this guy is gonna be a legend. He's
gonna be one of those guys.
He is. The little things he did in this movie, acting wise, was so subtle, but made his character even more detailed. Like the way he would look, you know, the stares he would have, the little looks, the little body language. You could tell how much thought was put into each one of those scenes that he was reacting to. I mean, outstanding. This guy, he is going to be a busy man. He is going to be busy.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. He's had a busy year this year, man. So, you know, I know there's going to be more and more coming. I tell you, Michael B. Jordan and Denzel, those are going to be like the Gen Z's, Will Smith and Denzel Washington. I'm telling you.
I mean, Michael B. Jordan did a great job with this movie, but I think Jonathan kind of stole it.
Oh, no, hey, I agree with you, 2,000%. That's how I feel, how he did with the Ant-Man movie. I feel like Jonathan Majors took that over. I feel like he just did the role, like you said, man, just all the little subtle moves, subtle facial expressions that he did. It's just so powerful, almost powerful. Those punches he was delivering, man, it was great.
It was great. Even his little, like, it's almost like he had a slight stutter, you know, but I don't know how to describe it. How would you describe his dialect? It was like a little slow.
Uneducated.
Uneducated. That's a great way to describe it.
You know, he went to jail as a young guy. You know, he was basically like a street guy back when they were kids. So, I mean, that was the best thing I could say, because I did notice that. So, yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. Uneducated.
And when he did it, it was so believable. Like you started like, does he really talk like that? Or is he doing that for the role? It's like he was so good at it. It was so believable.
Those are the best type of actors, man.
They are. I'm telling you, this guy is something amazing.
What about you, man? What was your favorite part, man?
The fighting, the body shots. I was like,
yeah.
in some of the scenes he filmed, being like his first directorial debut, when he's sleeping on the couch in the beginning, and they show him sleeping, and then you see the backdrop of this pool, then you see the mountains. That was such a cool shot. And then when him and Damien are at his house and they're outside talking, and the shot from outside, the lights. And there's a couple scenes where he's walking and the camera's like following him around. You only see his back. I thought that was so well done the way he shot that. So those are the type of things that I was like blown away. Like some kind of new things and little details like that he put into some thought into this movie.
No, definitely, man. Yeah, they definitely did. They took their time. I think the mission was accomplished with this one. Another thing I didn't like about this movie is what you told me, you know, the last time we were talking. No Sylvester Stallone, man. That was a little heartbreaker, man. They did him dirty, man. Very
dirty. And what was even weirder is there's like zero reference, only for them talking about the Apollo Rocky fight. That's it. So we don't know if he died. We don't know if he moved. We don't know anything. They make no reference to what happened. They got into a fight. He's dead. The cancer came back because he was fighting cancer. What, the first one? We just don't know. There's no discussion, nothing, not even touched once. That was very strange.
You know, and I was thinking about it. I was like, I wonder, adding Sylvester Stallone to this movie, how much better or how much worse this movie would have been.
Mm-hmm. I honestly think it wouldn't have worked with him in it. I think the story and everything didn't need him, but I felt they needed to address why he wasn't there. Like, since he was such an integral part in the first two, why not we have like a summary of like, where is he now, and do your thing. Because I thought the writing in this one was really good. There was no need for him, but at least touch base why he's not there.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a contract type of deal. Like, they can't do too much, even mentioning his name. That's gonna have them, get in legal trouble with, Sylvester Stallone at the end of the day. So I don't know. I
don't know, but I do know that he's got that big beef with Irwin Winkler that supposedly owns the characters, which is Sylvester Stallone was so pissed about because he wrote Rocky. He created all those characters. He sold it to get the movie made back in the 70s because he was poor. And then, no one knew that this character or this little world would go on for like almost 50 years. And they haven't given him any ownership of the characters he helped create. Because, you figure 1 or 2 movies, right? So big deal. You don't own it. You make money on it. It's done. But 46 years and they're milking this thing. And now there's rumors they're talking about doing a Drago series, like for Paramount or something. So these characters he created are still going on. And it's all this money he could, everything comes down to money. Let's be honest. And,
of course.
The fact that he created them, wrote them, and he wrote a lot of those, like the first 3-4 movies himself. So all that dialogue he doesn't even own. It's crazy.
Straight violation.
So I think that has something to do with it because I remember when they were filming this, he came out publicly and was like bashing that Irwin Winkler guy. Like, I mean, how much blood do you need from me or something to that? Blood money.
No, seriously, man. But I mean, at the same time, though, I agree with what you said. Like, the movie was put together, so well. I'm not sure how much more that Sylvester could have brought to the scene, to the story or the screen. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it was just best, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't think he should have been in this one, and I thought it was well done without him. But I think they should have touched base why he wasn't there to kind of tie it all up.
Something.
Yeah, something. Picture or a tombstone or something. I don't know.
No, I'm in complete agreement with you right there, man. They definitely should have addressed something, man. Little Rocky something.
For me, this movie was like 2 movies. The first part of this movie was so fantastic. I was all in. And then for me, the part where his mom dies. That scene, I don't know what happened in that scene, but it felt like they cut it. Like, it was very strange the way it was shot. Like, his mom gets sick. You knew his mom was going to die, right? There was no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know she would die, like, before I got into the movie, but as soon as I heard, the stroke or whatever, I said, okay, that's coming.
Yeah, they set it up.
I said that in the back of my head.
Yeah, the stroke talk. You're like, oh, she's gone. She's dead, right? Yeah. But that whole scene, when she dies, like, she's laying in that bed, is very... Like, the movie was so good, and then this one scene, it just felt so short and cut. It's like, she's sick, she's dying, he's crying, and then she's pretending to talk to Apollo, talking to him like she's in between worlds right there. And then it just felt like she died, and then, the funeral.
No, I do kind of, I didn't really feel as much it was cut. I felt more that it was just short. It just they could have added more. They could have been a little bit more creative. They could have even stressed out her, being in the hospital a little bit more through the movie. You see Creed bouncing back and forth from workouts to the hospital. So that's definitely a good point, man.
This was strange. Like, it felt like maybe they had so much cuts of it maybe going longer or something, but due to time maybe they cut it up like that. I don't know. It just felt unnatural to me. Just oh, your son is so great. I was so mad at you, and I'm dead. And here we are at the funeral. Everyone's walking with a coffin. It's just like that.
Maybe it was a budget thing, man, because you got some pretty big names in this movie already. So she wasn't really that big of a character for the Creed series as it is. So maybe they were just like, nah, she doesn't need that much screen time. Let's get her out of there, man.
Maybe. Another thing that was so cool and unique with this movie was the fact that his daughter's deaf, and he spends a lot of time, him and his wife, talking to her with sign language. Like when they're doing the sign language, there's no voice, and they got the way they presented it on the screen with the text. I mean, how many movies have you seen where a deaf person was such a major character in this movie? But usually when you have a deaf character, they're always talking as they sign, and they weren't talking. They were actually signing, and it was showing on screen. So I thought that was a cool perspective.
The girl that played the daughter, she's actually deaf.
Really?
Yeah. So they all actually were learning sign language, for the movie.
That's amazing. Like, so she's deaf, and she's got to learn her lines. How does that work?
They probably get them in Braille, you know what I'm saying? They probably have a whole process for that type of thing, but yeah.
And then how's she know when to hit her mark? Like, they have to use hands, you know what I mean?
That part, I'm not 100%, on the process, but I know there is one, so that they pulled it off pretty good, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, man. That's even more respect here in that part, man, because that's pretty impressive. That was impressive. The other part, that's pretty cool. I had no idea. That's even more amazing. But I love the fact that they had a unique character like that, and they went all in with that character. They didn't half-ass it. It was just deaf. And
well, you know why they probably did that?
Why is that?
Stretch out that money, man. Got to get the next Creed in there.
Now, do you think they kind of wrapped it up with him being old and retired now? He got his belts, all the belts. Do you think we're done? Or do you think they're going to spin it another way?
That part I was actually thinking about, man, because they were talking so much about Creed being done with his career in the movie or whatever. That was supposed to be he really wasn't supposed to fight Damien, but push came to shove, he had to. So right. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm sure they can figure out a way, but are they actually going to do that? I don't know. Maybe they'll just maybe they'll wait for the daughter get of age, or maybe they'll just slide another deaf actor in there.
See, that's what I was wondering too. The way the daughter was all into fighting. Like, is that the angle they're gonna go? Like, his daughter becomes
absolutely. They're gonna get those bucks anyway. How? That's the first thing that I see, that I think of when I see kids in that type of role, in a prominent role where there's a lot of room for growth. A lot of these kids are getting introduced into the Marvel movies just so they can set up a new Avengers movie, further down the line. That's all it is, man. They're planting seeds.
So do you predict they're gonna come out with another one?
With Michael B. Jordan, starring as Creed and, him being the main fighter, that part, I'm not sure. As far as them having another Creed, with his daughter or something like that, this will be continued. Like I was saying, the whole Drago series thing, they're gonna figure out a way to get some more money out of this series some way, somehow. So I definitely see a continuation just with Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed. That part, I don't know.
All right. Well, I figured maybe you had some inside information since you had all that good juicy stuff.
No, man, this ain't no Marvel movie. I'm not that top 10.
All right, so 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. How do you score this?
Give it, for me, man, give it a 7.5. Give it a 7.5.
7.5. Wow, another high score, a great score there.
I did like it a lot, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow, you did. Did you see it once or did you see it twice?
I only saw it once. I was supposed to see it twice, but just push came to shove, scheduling, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So didn't get a chance to see it. I am gonna see it a second time. I just haven't had the time to yet.
Did you went and saw it the VIP one where you got the super early screenings at the time you saw it?
The early access? Yes, I did, man. Yes, I did.
Get the early access, and then you leave me out, man. It's just cold. It's cold.
I felt bad, man, because I'm literally on my way to the theater. I'm like, wow, this would have been perfect for Frank. You could have got this review out before anybody else did. I felt like this goofy, dumb jackhole.
How'd you pull that off? So you got someone that works at the theater or something?
Not even that, man. It was like I think I was on either Facebook or Instagram, and I kept seeing the ads. I saw the ads for it for a while, and I didn't even buy my ticket until like a week before, just because I saw they were still, on sale. I would have thought it would have sold out quick, but they were still on sale. So I said, hey, why not?
So you just bought it, and you were able to see it super early.
Yep. It was theater's pretty packed too.
It's ridiculous, man. Connection like that.
It's all right, man. That won't ever happen again, man. You're gonna be the first person I get to for those early streams access, man. You're the first person I'm gonna text from now on.
I was thinking about that. If we did go see it together, there's no way we could sit next to each other. We'd have to sit in different rows.
Oh no, there were seats. Yeah, no, there were seats. But I say like two by two.
I can't hear you though. I can't hear when you laugh or when you're like, oh, we can't hear each other because then.
I see what you're saying now.
It's like, and then you're like, oh, what an ass! No, Niles.
Hey, that was definitely me for this movie. I was one of those cats.
Were you? There was in my theater, there was a couple behind me trying to crack the code throughout the whole movie, like. I don't know, man. Is he gonna lose to Damien? Is he gonna fight Damien? If he fights Damien, I think he might lose. I don't know. I'm worried that he might not make it through this one.
I wasn't all that bad. No, I wasn't doing all that. But I was. There were a few noises coming out of my seat, definitely.
Yeah. The thing that was
real quick, man. Well, I forgot to ask. What was your favorite one out of the three? Since now we're at 3.
That's tough, man. I really enjoyed this one from the story standpoint, because it was so unique. Versus, if you go all the way through Rocky 1, all the way to this was just so unique, which I really enjoyed. I would have to say, out of the Creed, probably this one, because to me this felt more like an original story. I like 2 a lot because I love the whole Russian angle, but it felt a lot like Rocky 4. I don't know if you ever saw Rocky 4, Rocky 3, where Rocky loses to Mr. T, Clubber Lang, right? And he has trouble getting over it. And then in Creed 2, he loses, right? And he's having trouble getting over it. This one felt to me the most original story, and plus Jonathan Majors, man, just
awesome.
He was so good. I mean,
so good, man. Yeah, for me, I'm kind of like you. Like, I'm stuck between 2 and 3, but I think maybe just because I watched it a little bit, obviously more times than Creed 3, but I like 2, man. 2 is probably my favorite. Maybe I need to go see, Creed 3, a couple more times, but just, I don't know, Creed 2 is just that stuff now. Maybe I liked it because he lost in Creed 2, and he had to come back, get his stuff together, and it was a little callback from the Rocky movies with Drago and everything,
yes.
Whole father-son dynamic.
Yes,
I think that's probably why it ended up being my favorite. But it's neck and neck though, honestly.
Same here with me, and the fact that in 2, he beats him, like they throw in the towel, like he's beating him up so bad, but he's still not giving up. He just throws in the towel. His dad throws in the towel to save his son.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. That was pretty emotional.
That was powerful, man.
Yeah,
that was powerful because Rocky's watching the whole thing, and the whole time he's feeling like he should have thrown it in, when Adonis was fighting in the original Rocky. So that was cool, man. That was a nice callback.
And the thing that's funny about it is all they're trying to do is impress their mom and the wife.
The things we do for our woman.
What kind of messed up movie or family is that? Like, we have to win so we get mommy back. It's kind of weird, right?
Definitely, man. It's a different culture over there, probably. That's all I could get from that. That's tough.
Very tough. So for me, overall, I give this movie a 6.3. 6.3.
Respect.
I would have gave it a higher score if they didn't do the whole cell block ring thing at the end in the big fight.
That part 3, well, see, I think that's what kind of took it back for me. I probably would have gave it like an 8, but just that little annoying stuff, like the whole Drago coming back and then being friends, the whole jail thing, that was lame too. But every movie's got those little knickknacks. You know what I'm saying? It's all right though. It's 7.5 is still good. Hey,
yeah.
What'd you say? 6.3?
6.3. I gave it 6.3.
Hey, that's fantastic coming from your mouth. So hey.
Now,
round of applause.
Do you know if there was a credit scene or anything? Because I didn't stick around to see the credit scene. Was there a credit scene at the end? I don't think so.
Not that I'm aware of. Not, at least not that I can remember.
All right. I was just curious because I stayed for half and I was like, maybe they won't put one in here and I don't want to be that guy.
All right. No, for real. That's what Marvel's doing to moviegoers, man. They don't know whether to stay or not.
It messes with your head, right? Because every movie now you think you got to stay. And then you stay, and then you're the asshole that's preventing the guys from cleaning it for the next movie. And then they're giving you a dirty look like, dude, come on, man. It messes with you. In another part, before we wrap this up, the ending of him going to Damien's locker room and talking. How did you feel about the way they wrapped it up?
I actually like that part, man, because it showed they was actually, they were still friends at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Even though all the disrespect that came, all the fighting, at the end of the day, they were still able to reconcile. That type of friendship coming back together, that's okay for me. Drago, like this guy's dad killed your dad, and he just disrespected you the entire second movie. Why is he coming here to be your friend? That doesn't make any sense. But
it's so say it again. He killed your dad. His dad killed your dad, and you're gonna spar.
There's no reason for a friendship right there. But hey, whatever pays the bills, I guess.
It's such a good point,
that's
though.
That's why he's a director and I am a watcher.
But that's right, though. His dad killed your dad. Remember?
Literally, well.
He dies. Now he's your friend. His son is your friend now. You guys are buddies. And he was going to hook him up with the big fight with the Felix guy, his own guy he was promoting. He was going to let him fight, and his dad killed your dad.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe that's how, I don't know, is that how the real boxing world works? I couldn't tell you. Are these guys friends after they beat each other up?
I don't know. But that's
violate each other to the fullest extent?
But it's such a great point you made. His dad killed your dad. Now you're sparring with them like buddies. Do you want to get some vodka? And we could talk about how my dad killed your dad. All right. I'm sorry, I got a little tangent there, but it was a good point. It was a good point.
You're good. I literally, my thoughts exactly seeing him training in the ring, because I really wasn't expecting him to be in the movie like at all.
Yes.
When I see his face, I'm like, oh boy.
Right. It's kind of interesting. I get it, but like you said, his dad killed your dad.
Literally.
All right. Niles gives it a 7.5. I give it a 6.3. That's our review for Creed 3. Until next time, thanks for watching.